My name is Meghann Law, and I live in Edmonton, Alberta. So I grew up in Calgary, but my grandparents lived in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, so about an hour away from where I grew up. And my weekends and my summers and my holidays were all spent there in this little summer village just outside of Canmore. And growing up, I was a kid in the 90s, and at that time, I remember seeing a lot more garbage on the road than now. I think that was at a time where we understood that, littering was bad, but it wasn't this existential threat that we see it as now. So people would be a lot more casual in discarding things. And it was also a time, of changes in technology and lifestyle. This kind of single-use packaging was popular. So growing up, I remember, in Calgary, I'd see it in the schoolyard, and it would collect in the corners of the fence when the Chinooks came. And then in my time in the mountains, you would see it would come off of the highways and out of windows, and it would kind of slowly migrate into the waterways and the forests. And I remember seeing that, and I remembered, I guess, this kind of visual clutter that you get where you just want to look at a landscape, but you can't help but have your eyes drawn somewhere. And I think that really impacted me, was just seeing the sheer amount of stuff that people were willing to throw out, and that stuff didn't really go away. So, it greatly affected my outlook, I would say, more so than my day-to-day life. I could just pick it up and throw it away or ignore it or whatever, but I think that it left a profound effect in terms of wanting to reduce that, the sheer amount of stuff. I want there to be less. I took a pretty big step in the direction of sustainability, and I opened a zero waste store and refillery. So it's somewhere in my city that you can go and you can refill the consumables that you need. You don't have to buy a new plastic bottle. You can use what we have. We source from Canada. We keep it as local as we can. So the idea is that if you come and you buy something here, you can at least reduce as much waste as you possibly can. You can feel better about it going into our watersheds. Something that comes up a lot is this idea that it doesn't matter what you do personally, you can't change something as an individual. Or it's industry's responsibility to fix these problems. And that is true, that these large corporations and these large industries, they absolutely have a responsibility to change what they're doing. But that's not a reason not to try on a personal level. And societal change starts on a personal level. And when you make habits and spaces for yourself, you make it easier for people around you to do that too. So when it comes to something like this, the concept of refilling, it's a boutique industry right now, right? It's something that's small, but it's growing. And I'm sure that larger retailers are noticing that we're kind of eating their lunch, right? And the point is that this is not a boutique industry one day. The more that you're voting with your dollar, the more that you're, boycotting places that you don't support, the more that you, an individual, are making change on that larger level. So one day, replenish might not exist because now this happens at the grocery store, and I would love that. So I think that idea of societal change being something that you can contribute to, and that you don't have to feel powerless, and that it's very empowering to choose to support things that you believe in, is really important to me. It's something that I talk about a lot, and that I think we could all use a reminder of sometimes.